The rain hammered against my bedroom window like it was trying to break in and save me. I was 16, stuffing everything I owned into black trash bags because apparently that's all my life was worth. Garbage day leftovers. You done with your little tantrum yet? My mother stood in the doorway, arms crossed, watching me like I was performance art. Her lipstick was perfect, even though it was barely 7 a.m. Ramona never let a crack show, not even when her youngest daughter was about to walk out forever. My name is Daisy, and that morning I learned what it felt like to be erased while you're still breathing. This isn't a tantrum. I shoved my last pair of jeans into the bag. This is me leaving. Where exactly do you think you're going? She laughed, but it had teeth in it. You don't have any money? You don't have any friends? You barely passed your classes? I tied the bag shut and looked at her. Really looked. The woman who gave birth to me was a stranger wearing my mother's face. Anywhere but here. You'll be back. She stepped aside as I dragged the bags past her. When you're broken and desperate and realise the world doesn't owe you anything, you'll come crawling back. The hallway felt longer than usual. Every family photo on the wall was a lie. Me smiling next to people who'd spent years making me feel like I was taking up space that belonged to someone better. Natalia's graduation picture hung in the centre, golden and gleaming. My school photos were smaller, pushed to the corners like afterthoughts. In the living room, Dad sat behind his newspaper like a cardboard cutout. He didn't look up when I walked by, just turned the page louder than necessary. Bye, Dad. The newspaper rustled. That was it. That was my goodbye from the man who taught me to ride a bike and used to call me his little flower. Before I became an inconvenience. Before I started asking questions about why Natalia got a car for her 16th birthday while I got a lecture about responsibility. My brother Kyler was eating cereal at the kitchen counter, scrolling through his phone. He glanced up when I passed, then looked away like I was already gone. See you around, Kyler. He shrugged. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Like I was going to the store instead of walking out of his life. The front door felt heavier than it should have. I stood there for a second, trash bags in both hands, waiting for someone to say something. Anything. Even "don't go" would have been enough to make me reconsider. The silence was deafening. I opened the door and stepped into the storm. The rain soaked through my jacket in seconds, but I didn't run. I walked down the driveway slowly, giving them one last chance to call my name. They didn't. At the end of the street, I turned back to look at the house. It was a beautiful house, white columns, perfect lawn, the kind of place that screamed, "Happy family lives here." Through the kitchen window, I could see Mom making coffee like it was any other Tuesday. Like her daughter hadn't just walked out into a thunderstorm with everything she owned in garbage bags. That's when it hit me. They were relieved. I was the problem child, the one who asked too many questions and didn't fit their perfect family portrait. With me gone, they could go back to pretending everything was fine. I started walking toward downtown, toward whatever came next. My shoes were already falling apart, and I had maybe $40 in my pocket. I didn't know where I was going to sleep or what I was going to eat. I just knew I couldn't stay in a place where I was treated like a stain on their reputation. The rain kept falling, but I stopped feeling cold. Something hot and sharp was growing in my chest, not sadness, not fear. Something harder, something that would keep me warm for the next 12 years. I pulled out my phone and took one last picture of their house, water droplets blurring the lens. Then I deleted their numbers, every single one. What they didn't know that day was, I left, but I didn't disappear. I was coming back, and I wasn't coming empty-handed. The first night, I slept in a 24-hour laundromat. The owner, an older Korean woman named Mrs. Kim, found me curled up between the washers at dawn. "You can't stay here," she said, but her voice was gentle. "Police come. Big trouble." I sat up, my back screaming from sleeping on concrete. "I'm sorry, I'll leave." She looked at my trash bags, then at my face. "You eat today?" I shook my head. 20 minutes later, I was in the back room eating leftover rice and kimchi while she folded clothes. She didn't ask questions, just handed me a business card for a motel down the street. "Tell Eddie I sent you. He'd give you work, maybe." Eddie turned out to be a chain-smoking man in his 50s who ran the Sunset Motel like it was the Ritz-Carlton, except with more roaches and fewer amenities. He looked me up and down when I walked into his office. "You 18? Almost." "That's a no." He went back to his paperwork. Come back when you're legal. Please. The word came out smaller than I wanted. I'll work harder than anyone you've ever hired. I just need a chance. He studied me for a long moment. You running from something bad? Yeah. Cops looking for you? No. He sighed and pulled out a key. Room 12. You clean rooms, do laundry, answer phones. $40 a day plus the room. You steal anything, you're gone. You bring drama here, you're gone. You miss a day without calling, you're gone. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Wait till you see what people do to motel rooms. He wasn't kidding. That first day, I cleaned things I didn't know could exist in nature. I scrubbed blood out of carpets, picked up needles with rubber gloves, and learned that some people apparently use bathroom walls as art canvases. But I had a roof. I had work. I had $40 at the end of the day. 3 months in, I figured out the bus route to Grandpa Thomas's nursing home. I'd been too scared to visit before, afraid Mum had told them not to let me in, afraid he'd look at me like I was a disappointment too. The receptionist barely looked up when I signed in. Room 237, he's probably napping. Grandpa was sitting by the window, staring out at the parking lot. He looked smaller than I remembered, frailer, but his eyes were still sharp. Well, I'll be damned. He turned toward me, and his face lit up. There's my girl. I burst into tears right there in his doorway, ugly shoulder-shaking sobs that I'd been holding in for months. Come here, sweetheart. He held out his arms, and I collapsed into them like I was 6 years old again. I wondered when you'd show up. You're not mad at me? Mad at you? He pulled back to look at me. For what? For leaving. For causing problems. For... Stop right there. His voice was firm. You didn't cause anything. You survived it. We talked for 2 hours. He told me about his physical therapy, complained about the food, asked about my job. He didn't mention my parents once, and neither did I. I'll come back next week, I said when visiting hours ended. You better. I'll be waiting. I visited every Sunday for the next 2 years. Sometimes he was having a good day and we'd play cards. Sometimes he was confused and thought I was my grandmother, but he always smiled when he saw me. During my 2nd year at the motel, I started taking online classes. Eddie let me use the office computer after hours, and I studied between cleaning rooms. When I got my GED, Grandpa cried. I'm proud of you, he said. Always have been. The scholarship letter came on a Tuesday, full ride to community college, then transfer to a 4-year school for computer science. I ran straight to the nursing home, waving the paper like a flag. Grandpa read it twice, then looked at me with tears in his eyes. You did this all by yourself. You helped. You believed in me when nobody else did. He reached into his nightstand drawer and pulled out a sealed envelope. My name was written on it in his shaky handwriting. Don't open it till you're ready, he whispered, pressing it into my hands. You'll know when. Ready for what? He smiled, but there was something sad in it. To go home. 10 years later, I was debugging code in my Seattle apartment when the invitation arrived. The envelope was cream-coloured, expensive, the kind Natalia always used for her perfect life announcements. My doorman handed it to me with a stack of bills and take-out menus. Fancy mail today, Miss Daisy? I almost threw it away without opening it. I'd built a good life, senior developer at a tech startup, corner apartment with a view of the Sound, closet full of clothes that actually fit. I didn't do social media, didn't keep in touch with anyone from before. Clean slate, clean conscience. But curiosity killed the cat, and apparently I was feeling feline. The invitation was exactly what I expected. Elegant script, baby blue borders, all the bells and whistles money could buy. Basait. You're invited to celebrate the upcoming arrival of baby Matthews. Join Natalia and Melvin for an afternoon of joy and celebration. Then I saw the handwritten note at the bottom, and my blood pressure spiked. Would be nice if you came, if you're still in the country. We weren't sure you'd get this since we don't really know where you ended up. Hope you're doing well. XOXO, Nat. I read it 3 times. The passive aggression was masterful, concern wrapped in condescension with a bow of fake sweetness on top. Classic Natalia. My phone buzzed. Text from my co-worker, Jake. You look like someone just told you your code has a memory leak. Everything okay? I'd been staring at the invitation for 20 minutes. Family stuff, I texted back. The kind that requires alcohol or ice cream? Both! But instead of drowning my feelings in Ben and Jerry's, I walked to my bedroom closet and pulled out a shoebox from the top shelf. Inside were the few things I'd kept from before: my high school diploma, some photos of Grandpa, and the envelope he'd given me. I'd carried it through 4 moves, 3 jobs, and countless moments when I'd wondered what was inside. He'd died during my junior year of college. Heart attack in his sleep, peaceful according to the nurse who called me. I was the only one listed as his emergency contact. The funeral was small. I sat in the back watching my family grieve for the cameras. Mum dabbed her eyes with a tissue that never seemed to get wet. Dad stood stoic and dignified. Natalia wore black designer everything and leaned on her new husband for support. None of them noticed me there. After the service, I'd gone to his grave alone and promised him I'd make something of myself, that his faith in me wouldn't be wasted. Now, holding his envelope and Natalia's invitation, I felt something click into place. I opened the envelope carefully. Inside was a handwritten letter and the business card of a lawyer named Paula Hughes. My dearest Daisy, if you're reading this, I'm gone and you're finally ready to come home. I've been watching you build yourself from nothing and I couldn't be prouder. You have more strength in your little finger than the rest of them combined. I've left you something they all assumed would go to your father. Call Paula, she has the details. Use it however you see fit. You'll know what's right. They said you come back broken. Show them how wrong they were. All my love, Grandpa Thomas. My hands were shaking as I dialed Paula's number. Hughes Law Office. Hi, this is Daisy. I think you have something for me from my grandfather Thomas. Daisy, I've been waiting for your call. Can you come in tomorrow? There are some documents you need to see. The next morning, I sat in Paula's office while she spread papers across her desk. Deeds, tax records, property assessments. Your grandfather updated his will 6 months before he died, she said. The house goes to you, all of it. I stared at the documents. The family house. The one with the white columns and perfect lawn where I'd never been welcome. The one Dad had been counting on inheriting. The one worth close to $2 million in today's market. He was very specific about the timing, Paula continued. I was instructed to contact you only after you reached out first. He said you'd know when you were ready. I picked up Natalia's invitation from my purse and set it next to the deed. I think I'm ready now. That night, I booked a flight home and went shopping. If I was going to crash their party, I was going to look like I belonged there. For the first time in years, I slept like a baby. The baby shower was at Mom and Dad's house, naturally. Same white columns, same perfect lawn, same lie of domestic bliss. I parked my rental car, a sleek BMW, because why not, and walked up the driveway in a tailored navy pantsuit that cost more than I used to make in a month. The front door opened before I could knock. Oh my God! Natalia stood there in a flowing pink dress, one hand on her belly, mouth hanging open. You actually came. Surprise? I smiled and held up a perfectly wrapped gift box. Congratulations on the baby. She recovered quickly, plastering on her hostess smile. Everyone's going to be so shocked to see you. Come in, come in. The house looked exactly the same. Same family photos lining the hallway. Same expensive furniture arranged just so. The only difference was me. I didn't shrink against the walls anymore. Daisy! Mum's voice came from the kitchen, sharp with disbelief. She appeared in the doorway wearing a cream-coloured dress and her signature red lipstick. Well, this is unexpected. Hi, Mum. I kissed her cheek like we did this every day. You look great. Her smile was frozen in place. You look different. Success will do that. Dad emerged from his office, and I watched his face cycle through confusion, recognition, and something that might have been panic. Daisy, how nice to see you. Dad. I shook his hand like we were business associates. Love what you've done with the place. Kyla wandered in from the living room, beer in hand. He stared at me like I was a ghost. Holy shit, Daisy. Language, Kyla, Mum snapped. We have guests. Sorry, Wow. You look like a completely different person. Same person, better clothes. The living room was full of Natalia's friends, women in designer dresses making polite conversation over mimosas. They all turned when I walked in, and I watched the whispers start immediately. Is that really her sister? I heard she joined a cult. Someone told me she ran off with a priest. Didn't she get arrested for drugs? Jennifer, Natalia's best friend since high school, approached with wide eyes. Daisy? Oh my God, I can't believe you're here. We all wondered what happened to you. Nothing dramatic, just built a life. In Seattle, right? Natalia mentioned you were doing computer stuff? The way she said computer stuff made it sound like I was fixing broken toasters. Software development. I work for a startup that just got acquired by Microsoft. Jennifer's smile faltered. Oh, that's really great. I excused myself to use the bathroom and took a detour through Dad's office. The door was open, papers scattered across his desk. Bills mostly. Credit card statements, loan documents, something from a casino in Atlantic City. Looking for something? I turned. Dad stood in the doorway, arms crossed. Just admiring your organisation system, I said, gesturing at the mess. Very chaotic. It's been a rough year. His voice was tight. Business has been slow. I'm sorry to hear that. I wasn't, but I said it anyway. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. Look, I know we haven't talked in a while, but family is family. If you ever need anything... I don't. Right, of course. I just meant, when your grandfather passes, there might be some opportunities for the family to come together. Grandpa died 3 years ago, Dad. His face went white. What? Heart attack? Peaceful, according to the nurses. But nobody told me. We would have been there. He only had one emergency contact listed. The silence stretched between us, Dad's mouth open and closed like a fish. I should get back to the party, I said, walking past him. In the living room, Natalia was holding court, one hand on her belly, regaling everyone with stories about nursery decorating and baby name debates. She caught my eye and waved me over. Everyone, you remember my sister Daisy? She's been living in Seattle, working in tech. More polite smiles, more whispered conversations. I placed my gift on the table with the others and found a seat in the corner. So what do you do exactly? Asked a blonde woman whose name I'd already forgotten. I develop mobile applications. The last one I worked on sold for 8 figures. The room got quieter. 8 figures? Jennifer's voice cracked slightly. Like millions? Like millions. Natalia's laugh was a little too loud. Well, aren't you just full of surprises? I smiled and sipped my sparkling water. You have no idea. The gift opening ceremony began after lunch. Natalia sat in a throne-like chair decorated with pink and blue ribbons while everyone gathered around with their phones ready. She opened each present with theatrical gasps and squeals. Oh, this bassinet is gorgeous, Jennifer. A cashmere baby blanket from Mom. So soft. Kyla, you got me a car seat. How practical. She worked through the pile methodically, each gift more expensive than the last. Designer baby clothes, a $1,000 stroller, a sound machine that probably cost more than my first car. Finally, she reached my box. And this one's from... She checked the tag. Daisy. Her voice had a slight edge to it. How sweet. She shook it gently. It's not very heavy. What could it be? Open it and find out, I said from my corner. The room went quiet as she carefully untied the ribbon. Inside the box was tissue paper, and inside that was a manila envelope. Natalia pulled it out, frowning. What is this? Read it. She opened the envelope and pulled out the documents. Her eyes scanned the first page, then stopped. Her face went pale. I don't understand. What is it, honey? Melvin leaned over to look. It's some kind of legal document. Her voice was barely a whisper. Dad appeared at her shoulder. Let me see that. He grabbed the papers, and I watched his face change as he read. The colour drained from his cheeks, then rushed back in an angry red flush. This can't be right. What can't be right? Mum pushed through the crowd of guests. It's a deed, Dad said, his voice shaking. To this house, with Daisy's name on it. The room erupted in confused murmurs. Mum snatched the papers from Dad's hands. This is impossible. There must be some mistake. No mistake, I said, standing up. Grandpa left me the house, all of it. That's ridiculous, Natalia snapped. Why would he leave it to you? Maybe because I was the only one who visited him. The silence that followed was deafening. I could hear the clock ticking on the mantel, someone's phone buzzing, the sound of champagne glasses being set down on tables. You visited him? Mum's voice was barely audible. Every Sunday for 4 years, until he died. He's not dead, Dad said desperately. We would have known. Someone would have told us. I told you 5 minutes ago. You seemed surprised. Jennifer cleared her throat. Maybe we should go. This seems like family business. No, stay, I said. This is the perfect audience for this conversation. Natalia stood up, her hands shaking. You can't just waltz in here after 12 years and claim our house. Your house? I pulled out my phone and showed her a photo of the deed. See that signature? That's Grandpa's. See that name? That's mine. But Dad was supposed to inherit it, Kyla said. We all knew that. Apparently Grandpa had other plans. Dad was reading the papers again, his face getting redder by the second. When did he change the will? 6 months before he died, right around the time I graduated college, actually. This is fraud, Mum declared. You manipulated a sick old man. He wasn't sick. He was sharp as a tack until the end. Ask the nurses at Sunset Manor. Oh, wait, you can't because you never went there. The guests were starting to edge toward the door. This was way more drama than they'd signed up for at a baby shower. So what now? Natalia's voice was venomous. You're going to kick us out? Make us homeless? I'm not kicking anyone out. Yet. Yet. Dad stepped forward. What's that supposed to mean? I smiled. Well, I've been thinking about what to do with the property. It's worth quite a bit these days. Prime real estate. You're going to sell it, Mum said flatly. Oh, no. I'm going to renovate it. Turn it into something useful. Like what? Kyla asked. A shelter for runaway girls, teenagers who need a safe place to stay while they get back on their feet. The room went dead silent. You can't be serious, Natalia whispered. I'm completely serious. I've already spoken to contractors. We're thinking of calling it Thomas's Haven, after Grandpa. Dad's face was purple now, over my dead body. It's not up to you anymore, Dad. It's my house now. Jennifer, who had been quietly watching the whole scene unfold, suddenly spoke up. She's the only one who visited him. Everyone turned to stare at her. What? Natalia snapped. At the nursing home. Daisy was the only one who visited him. The staff talked about it all the time. How this young woman came every Sunday, brought him flowers, played cards with him. Jennifer looked around the room. None of you ever went. The accusation hung in the air like smoke. And I already have plans for it. I thought a shelter for runaway girls sounded like a better use. Natalia's champagne glass hit the floor and shattered. Pink liquid splashed across the white carpet like blood. You vindictive bitch! Her voice was low and dangerous. You planned this whole thing. Natalia! Mom gasped. No, I'm done pretending. Natalia stepped over the broken glass, her face twisted with rage. She shows up here in her fancy clothes with her fake success story, and now she wants to destroy our family. I didn't destroy anything, I said calmly. I just inherited a house. Bullshit. You manipulated a dying old man into giving you something that wasn't yours. He wasn't dying when he changed the will. And it was his to give. The remaining guests were grabbing their purses and heading for the door. I didn't blame them. This was turning into a Jerry Springer episode. You want to know why he left it to me? I stood up, facing my sister across the wreckage of her perfect party. Because I was there. When he was scared and alone and forgetting who he was, I was there. We didn't know he was that bad, Dad said weakly. You didn't want to know. It was easier to pretend he was fine so you didn't have to deal with it. That's not fair, Mum protested. We had our own lives, our own responsibilities. So did I. I was working 2 jobs and going to school full time, but I still found time to visit him every week. Natalia laughed bitterly. Oh, here we go. Saint Daisy, sacrificing everything for poor Grandpa. What do you want, a medal? I want you to stop acting like you're the victim here. I am the victim! She was screaming now, her carefully applied makeup running down her cheeks. This was supposed to be my day. My celebration. And you ruined it. Your day? I stepped closer. Like my 16th birthday was your day when you told everyone I was probably pregnant because I looked fat in my dress. Natalia's mouth fell open. Or like Christmas was your day when you opened all your presents first and made sure everyone knew mine were from the clearance rack. That's not, Or like graduation was your day when you told Mom not to come to my ceremony because it would be embarrassing. Stop it, Mom said sharply. Why? Because it's true. I turned to face her. You want to know why Grandpa left me the house? Because he saw what you all did to me. He watched you erase me from this family and pretend it was my fault. Kyla was backing toward the door. I think I should go. No, stay, I said. You were part of it too. Remember when I asked you to be my date to junior prom because no one had asked me? You said you'd rather die than be seen with me. I was 17, he mumbled. I was stupid. You were cruel. All of you were cruel. Melvin, who had been silent through the whole explosion, finally spoke up. Maybe we should all calm down. Don't you dare! Natalia whirled on him. Don't you dare take her side. I'm not taking anyone's side. I'm just saying... She's trying to destroy us. Can't you see that? Actually, Melvin said quietly, I think she's just telling the truth. The room went dead silent. What did you say? Natalia's voice was barely a whisper. I said she's telling the truth. About the visits, about how you all treated her. He looked around the room. I've heard the stories, Nat. From you. You used to laugh about them. That's different. That was just sibling stuff. Was it sibling stuff when you told people she was probably on drugs because she lost weight? Melvin, stop! Or when you made sure she wasn't invited to your wedding? She wouldn't have come anyway. You didn't give her the chance. Natalia's face crumpled. Why are you doing this to me? I'm not doing anything to you, Melvin said. I'm just tired of pretending. Dad slammed his hand on the coffee table. Enough! This is still my house, and I want you out. He pointed at me. Get out. Now. I smiled. Actually, Dad, this is my house now, and I think you're the one who needs to leave. You can't be serious. I'm dead serious. You have 30 days to find somewhere else to live. Mom gasped. You can't throw us out. We're your family. Family? I laughed. When was the last time any of you called me, texted me, sent me a birthday card? Silence. That's what I thought. I picked up my purse. 30 days. I'll have the eviction notice delivered tomorrow. As I walked toward the door, Melvin caught my arm. For what it's worth, he said quietly, he would have hated for that house to go to them. I looked back at my family, Mom crying into her hands, Dad red-faced and furious, Natalia collapsed in her chair, Kyla staring at the floor. I know, I said. That's exactly why he gave it to me. 3 weeks later, I stood in the empty house with my contractor, Marcus. The moving trucks had come and gone. My family had cleared out without a word. No goodbye, no forwarding address, nothing. So you want to gut the whole first floor? Marcus asked, making notes on his clipboard. Everything except the kitchen. That stays. And upstairs. Convert it into individual rooms, small but private. Each girl should have her own space. Marcus nodded. I've worked on shelters before. You'll need reinforced locks, security cameras, maybe some kind of check-in system. Whatever it takes to keep them safe. We walked through each room, and I found myself remembering things I'd tried to forget. The corner of the living room where I used to hide during their dinner parties. The hallway, where Natalia once shoved me into the wall because I was wearing a dress she wanted. The stairs where I sat crying after they forgot my 14th birthday. You okay? Marcus asked. You look a little pale. Just memories. In what used to be my childhood bedroom, I pulled out a stack of sticky notes and started writing. Small messages, things I wish someone had told me when I was 16 and broken. You are not the problem. It gets better, I promise. You are stronger than you know. I stuck them inside the closet, behind the light switch, under the windowsill, places where a scared girl might find them someday. What are those? Marcus asked. Hope. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Saw the news about Dad. Thought you should know. Kyla. I called him back immediately. What news? You didn't hear. He got arrested. Embezzlement from his company. Apparently he's been stealing for months to cover gambling debts. I sat down hard on the bedroom floor. When? Yesterday. Made the local paper and everything. Mom's staying with Aunt Carol. And Natalia. Kyla was quiet for a moment. Melvin filed for divorce. She's back with Mum. Jesus. Yeah, it's been a rough couple of weeks. Are you okay? Me? I'm fine. Got a job at a warehouse, found a studio apartment. It's not much, but it's mine. He paused. Look, I know I was a shitty brother. I know I don't deserve to ask, but are you really going through with the shelter thing? Yes. Good. I think Grandpa would like that. After I hung up, I walked to the master bedroom, my parents' old room. The walls were bare now, but I could still see the faint outlines where their wedding photos used to hang. I pulled out another sticky note. The people who hurt you don't get to define you. I stuck it on the window that overlooks the backyard, where I used to sit and dream about running away. Marcus found me there an hour later. Demo crews here. You ready for this? I nodded. Tear it all down. The first wall to go was the one between the living room and dining room. I watched the sledgehammer punch through the drywall, creating a cloud of dust and debris. Each swing felt like something breaking free inside my chest. This wall's load-bearing, one of the crew called out. We'll need to put in a beam. Do whatever you need to do, I said. I want this space open. No more walls keeping people apart. My phone rang. Unknown number again. Hello? Is this Daisy? The voice was young, maybe 16. Yes. Who is this? My name's Sarah. I saw the article in the paper about your shelter, about how you ran away when you were my age. My heart stopped. Are you okay? Are you safe? I'm at a friend's house, but I can't stay much longer. My parents kicked me out last week. Where are you? She gave me an address across town. I know the shelter isn't open yet, but I was wondering, do you know anywhere I can go? I looked around at the construction chaos, then at Marcus. How long until we have at least one room ready? If we work around the clock, maybe a week. Make it 3 days, I turned back to the phone. Sarah, can you hold on for 3 days? I think so. Give me your friend's address. I'm coming to get you. You don't have to. Yes, I do. An hour later, I was sitting in a McDonald's with a scared teenage girl who looked exactly like I had 12 years ago. Same hollow eyes, same defensive posture, same trash bag full of clothes. My parents said I was corrupting my little sister, Sarah said, picking at her fries, just because I'm gay. I'm sorry. Are you really going to help kids like me? I reached across the table and took her hand. That's exactly why I'm doing this. That night, I put Sarah up in a hotel room and called Marcus. Change of plans. We're working 24 hours a day until we get the first room finished. That's going to cost extra. I don't care what it costs. As the first wall collapsed, I whispered to the empty house. This, finally, feels like coming home. The grand opening of Thomas's Haven fell on a Tuesday in October. Sarah cut the ribbon with oversized scissors while a small crowd of social workers, volunteers, and local reporters applauded. She was our first official resident, though she'd been living there for months already, helping with the final touches. I can't believe this is real, she said, grinning at the cameras. 6 months ago, I was sleeping in my car. The house looked nothing like it used to. The walls were painted in warm yellows and soft blues. The living room had comfortable couches and a big screen TV. The kitchen had been expanded with industrial appliances to feed 20 girls. Upstairs, 12 bedrooms waited for whoever needed them next. I stood in the doorway watching Sarah give interviews, and my phone buzzed with an email notification. The sender's name made my stomach drop. From nataliam2847@gmail.com. Anjasi siatu subject. Congratulations. Daisy. I saw the news story about your shelter. Mum sent me the link. I hope you feel better now. I hope this was worth destroying our family for. I'm living in a 1-bedroom apartment and working at a department store. Melvin took everything in the divorce. Dad's in prison. Mum cries every day. But I guess you got what you wanted. Natalia. I stared at the email for a long moment, then deleted it without responding. Miss Daisy? A small voice interrupted my thoughts. A girl who couldn't have been older than 15 stood in the doorway clutching a garbage bag. Are you the lady who runs this place? I am. What's your name? Emma. The social worker said you might have room for me. I looked at her, thin, scared, trying to be brave, and saw myself at 16. We always have room. Come on, let me show you around. As I led Emma upstairs, Sarah appeared at my elbow. I'll take her, she said quietly. I remember what it's like on the first day. I watched them disappear down the hallway, Sarah's arm around Emma's shoulders, and felt something settle in my chest. My phone rang. Marcus. "You need to see the news," he said. "Channel 7 just ran a feature on the shelter. It's going viral online." I pulled up the video on my phone. The reporter was standing in front of Thomas's Haven, talking about second chances and community support. Then the camera cut to an interview with me from earlier that morning. "What inspired you to create this place?" the reporter had asked. "I was 16 when I ran away from home," I'd said. "I spent my first night in a laundromat because I had nowhere else to go. I don't want any girl to feel that alone." The comments section was already filling up. Donations were pouring in through the website. 3 more girls had called asking for help. That evening, after the reporters left and the volunteers went home, I found myself alone in the house for the first time since construction began. I walked through each room, checking locks, turning off lights, making sure everything was secure. In the kitchen, I found a note stuck to the refrigerator, Sarah's handwriting. "Thank you for saving my life. S." Below it, Emma had already added her own message. "Thank you for giving me hope. E." I pulled out a sticky note and added my own. "Thank you for letting me come home. D." Outside, I sat on the front steps where I used to wait for school buses that never seemed to come fast enough. The neighbourhood looked the same, but everything felt different. The house wasn't a prison anymore. It was a sanctuary. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Saw the news. Proud of you, Melvin." I smiled and typed back, "Thanks. How are you doing?" "Better. Divorce was final last week. Starting over, but it feels good. Starting over can be the best thing that happens to you." "Yeah, I'm learning that." I looked up at the house, my house, Grandpa's house, their house now, and pulled up my photos. I scrolled back to that picture I'd taken 12 years ago, standing in the rain with everything I owned in garbage bags. Then I took a new picture, same angle, same house, but now the windows were glowing with warm light. A sign by the front door read, "Thomas's Haven, a safe place to start again." I walked to my car and drove to the cemetery. Grandpa's headstone was simple, just his name and dates. I placed the printed photos side by side against the granite, before and after, destruction and rebuilding, ending and beginning. "They said I'd crawl back broken," I whispered to his grave. "But I came back whole enough to level the ground they walked on, and then I built something better on it." The wind picked up, rustling the photos against the stone. In the distance, I could see the lights of Thomas's Haven glowing like a beacon in the darkness. I was finally home.